James from Betfair here today. I've got another pro punter interview with Mark Rhoden. I just shot it. He's a great fella, Richmond tragic. He's been in the game about 2 decades. Learned his craft back up in Darwin, working for Mark Rhoden, and then at Sportsbet. Now he's trying to beat Sportsbet, any other bookie that lets him on, win on the exchange. Does a paid subscription service through Champion Bets and Winning Edge Investments. He's also the best I've seen at the pro lays. He's been cleaning up there on the Betfair hub. Anything that he's laying, you want to be paying attention to. Great fella. Hopefully you guys pick some information out and how he does his form and how he applies his trade and keeps evolving. Any questions, put them in the show notes in our comment section on YouTube and subscribe. That's it. Enjoy.
The big turning point in the development of Sportsbet was, of course, when Paddy Power bought them around. You know, that sale was all part of the same process. IAS being bought by Sportsbet, in turn bought by Paddy's. But, over in Ireland and that part of the world, they have a very different approach to trading. They're far more about cutting out winners.
Yep.
That's rule 1, 2, and 3, and then you see what's left after that.
Yeah, we could talk about that for a long time, but we both might get in a bit of trouble there.
Yeah.
So just that European influence change. What year was that?
That was so Paddy Power involved from day one in 2009, but there was sort of a transitional phase for, I guess.
Right.
And so by 2010, 2011, it would have been by late 2010, the sort of the edict had been passed down from Dublin that this is the way it was going to be, and off we went. Yeah.
But you stayed there another 5 years after that, so you're still pricing at markets and betting as well?
Yeah. It was, the philosophy changed a bit. Betting back, punting on behalf of the company stopped.
Yeah.
Betting back became less important. But, for me, my role was evolving, but it was still enjoyable work in that I was still doing a form every day. I was still pricing races. And, of course, by that stage, more and more companies, and one of them were putting up early markets. And got to the point where you're putting up early markets 7 days a week, which, of course, everyone's used to now, but that wasn't the case 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's still, a decent job there for me, and reasonably enjoyable work, even though some of the sort of more fun, I suppose, aspects of the job had disappeared, but it was, it was still a job I enjoyed, and I was working with a great group of people as well. So even though it was changing, I was happy to keep going at that stage.
So you're still honing your craft then, and is that the same way you're pricing markets for Sportsbet? Is that how you do it these days, or does it evolve?
It's pretty similar. It's, I do everything off a ratings database. We had one from the IAS days that we continued using at Sportsbet.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't have access to that anymore since I left. But my cousin he's been a pro punter for over 10 years. He built his own database from scratch, which sort of works on similar lines to what I've been used to. So I just transitioned almost straight away into using his and pricing in a very similar way. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you guys, both of you, maintain that today, the database?
Yes. He built it, and we both it's just the two of us work on it. But that involves post-race rating of basically every TAB meeting in Australia, and then using that database to do the form. We buy video comments, so I don't actually do the laborious work of doing the tapes for every horse every week. I just don't have time, but I certainly do spend a lot of time making my own notes and adjustments on horses when I see fit.
Yeah. And are you exclusively betting Metro New South Wales, or are you betting in a few places these days?
I concentrate on Metro and Provincial, and that was always my base of what I wanted to do. But I have, just in terms of trying to get turnover up and that sort of thing, tried to spread the wings a few times, and it just hasn't worked, or hasn't worked well enough.
Yeah.
It's one thing I'll never say never. I bet off my cousin's stuff. He concentrates mainly in WA, but a bit of Victoria as well. So because we're running off the same database, I've got faith in what he's doing. So I'll top up my stuff with what he's doing. But in terms of personally trying to spread my wings too far, I just don't. Because the way I do it's a bit more labour intensive. There's very little automation at the moment. I don't have time.
Yeah, I think that's pretty consistent. Even in different industries, you got to focus on your niche. You can't try and do everything. You just got to be a source somewhere.
Yeah, I think people who can do it and bet everywhere are using and have mastered more than I have some degree of automation.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how it's possible to do the form in a fashion like I do and have the time to cover it all.
Yeah, right. So Cam O'Brien's your cousin you're referring to, just
That's right. Yes.
And how did you end up betting New South Wales? Is that just you because of the amount of meetings? Is that because you were exposed to it earlier? Like, as a proud Victorian, how have you ended up betting up there?
Yeah, it was just because I'd been doing it for so long at Sportsbet. I think so. It was from about 2006 at IAS. I'd mainly been doing New South Wales racing. So there were a couple of changes. It wasn't 10 years constantly, but I'd say a good 7.5, 8 of the last 10 years in corporate world. I was a New South Wales analyst and trader. I was a head trader at Sportsbet for quite a while on New South Wales. So when the time came to start on my own, I didn't think it was worthwhile, switching to Melbourne, for instance, just because I live here.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know, if I was starting again, I don't know if I'd still do it. But I'm just so used to Sydney that that was the reason I did it. And I'm happy with it. I do think it's probably the best racing in Australia, best to bet on. But the one thing I miss is going to the track, because I think there are advantages in actually going to the track, and I'm obviously unable to do that.
In play, or just seeing how they parade, or knowing about the track, everything?
All of that, plus the prices available on course from on-course bookmakers are great.
Yeah.
Especially on favourites.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm hoping to just talk through your week a little bit, just so we can see some of your process. How's if we started on a Monday? Are you betting on Sunday and doing any reviews on Monday, or?
Yeah, I do something every day. Some days are quieter or busier than others, of course, but there's some work to do every day. So Sunday, it depends. I'll try to restrict my own form to metropolitan and provincial. So if there's no provincial in New South Wales on the Sunday, or at least a major country meeting like a cup meeting or something, I probably haven't been betting on New South Wales. I've had a bet on WA because Cam's done it 9 times out of 10 on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Monday, then I'll start with me post race for Saturday, and we'll start having a look at the Wednesday meeting if there's not a Tuesday provincial. But there's been a hell of a lot of Tuesday provincials in recent weeks. So, Monday was usually a pretty light day for me, but that just hasn't been the case in the last couple of months. So it's just been pretty constant.
And so Tuesdays at the moment you're betting and then doing form for Wednesday?
Yep. Well, today I'm not, because this is the first non-race day for me in about at least a month on a Tuesday. So just a form day today, and I'll catch up on some post-race on some provincial meetings and that sort of stuff too. Yep.
Okay. And then is your Wednesday, have you done most of your action earlier in the morning? Have you already done a bet by Tuesday, and are you watching them? Yeah,
I try. It's evolving. I'm doing more late betting now, but for the most part, I've tried to, the earlier the better.
Yep.
I like to play in the early markets and that kind of thing. Found there was an edge there, but I think with some of the taxation changes we've seen in the last 12, 18 months, that early market with the corporates is getting tighter and harder to beat. They've certainly funneled a lot of the extra percentage into the top end of the market, where I was having a bit of success.
Yeah.
So that's sort of dried up. So I've had to change in a couple of ways. One is bet later, just wait for the market percentage to come down a bit, and 2 is look wider. I was really happy just concentrating on things I had at the top of my market. Had success doing it, and 2019 that edge just had dried up. I just wasn't winning doing it, so I had to change. And that's fortunately this year's been much better than 2019. I've been winning, but I've had to start backing those 8, 10, 12 and greater chances, which I was just not ignoring, but playing a lot less than I am now.
Because you're seeing the corporates have less percentage in those, and you can still get a decent price.
It just seems like there's a bit more edge there than there was, certainly relative to the favourites. I actually found that I could back my clear top picks for a while there through 2018, 2017, 18 and into 19, almost regardless of what price they were compared to my assessed price.
Yeah.
The strike rate was good enough and the market price just took care of it and they'd win. But that had finished by mid-2019.
Yeah, right. And then just preparing for a big Saturday. We've had some good racing up in Sydney recently. What's your process leading up to there?
Well, just in terms of doing the form, it's the same as any meeting I do the form on, except I've got a couple of other things I need to do in that, might be producing a preview podcast or video or something like that comes into play. And also because for Saturdays you get the Wednesday acceptances, I don't often start Wednesday night. I've probably been betting and watching the races all day Wednesday.
Yeah. Don't
usually get started Wednesday evening unless I have to. But I will be having a look by Thursday afternoon at the absolute latest. So you do get a bit of an earlier start on it and start formulating your opinions a bit earlier on the big Saturday meeting too.
And then, so you've got your database when you're looking to have a bet. Are you entering your prices in there? Or are you creating your separate spreadsheet and rating them to 100%, or what are you doing?
Yeah, it's within the database. Attached to the database, we've got a pricing module. So it's the price always does relate back to a rating, but we allow ourselves a lot of flexibility on what that final rating pricing off is. So it's not like the database tells you this horse has a rating of 100 and then that's going to equate into $2.50 and that's it. You chain to it. We've got a lot of flexibility too.
Okay. And then how do you identify that something's sticking out enough for you to have a bet?
Yeah, so I'll play around with the market when I've done the form and fine tune the figures until I've got a market I'm happy with. And in 99% of cases, I haven't looked at an actual betting market at that point. Yeah. So then when you go to compare them, that's when you see, something sticks out here. We've got a difference, so there might be a betting opportunity.
Yeah.
And now that is all dependent on just price differentials. Like I said, I was concentrating almost exclusively on clear top picks and over a year ago. And if I'd marked something $3 and it was $2.70, but my next pick in the market was $8, I was going to take $2.70. Right. I was happy to pay a premium to get on these top picks because their strike rate was so good.
Yeah.
But something has changed in the market, and that is now not profitable. And I have had to be far more careful and far more accurate in my pricing to make sure I am getting an edge when I find one.
All right, mate. Very good. Thank you. I think we've covered most bases today. I really appreciate your time.
No worries at all, mate. Pleasure.